needs substantial development, and we're beginning to see the early stages of that, and that's very exciting. But it's not nearly enough. Everybody wants to move uptown, and as a realtor who's been specializing for 16 years uptown, the biggest challenge we have now is finding them a place to live, finding them something they want to buy. So there's a gap there in terms of, the local development community's willingness to, on spec, renovate existing property. And I understand their reluctance, but it's a huge gap and there's a huge demand. And at the same time, generally speaking, it's well known by now, and this has just happened in a really short time, but that, the general demand for people to live on the peninsula, not just necessarily because they want to live in a renovated heritage historic property, but they just want to live somewhere on the peninsula because of lifestyle issues, which have to do with, accessibility to the water, accessibility to services, pubs, galleries, shops, all of those things. Small business owners who have set up shop all along the streets of Trinity Royal, and they are making a go of it. They're undaunted. They are enthusiastic. They are carving out niche businesses and all kinds of little sectors for themselves. But it's still a struggle for them. 1,500 more families. It just adds that other level of sustainability and vibrancy to restaurants, to galleries, to shops, to all of those things. We still don't have, at least in people's minds, we still don't have what people would describe as a grocery store, a food store. And 1,500 more units would, I think, tip the scale in terms of some of the large operators, some of the national operators finally making a decision to put one of their niche concepts uptown, and there's places to do that. 1,500 more units would just add the vibrancy, sustainability, all those things that people who live uptown already aspire to. Activity. I know what a busy day in the neighborhood looks like when there's 3 or 4 cruise ships in town. And I've often equated those days uptown, to spending the day in Manhattan for a few hours. The streets are full, the shops are full, there's vibrancy, there's street performers, there's all kinds of things. And so I would like to think that in the future when we have, you say 1,500 units, but I think we'll ultimately have more than that. I just see that kind of vibrancy and sustainability. I've used those 2 words very often in our conversation today, but that's really what it's about. More shops, more people, more inventory in the shops, because the shops aren't struggling to make it, a real food store, butchers and delis, and the kind of service that, we have the city market, which is pretty incredible, but there's still a level of urban living that you would enjoy when you lived in Manhattan or you lived in downtown Toronto that we're still missing in terms of the quality of certain services, like a real bakery, a real deli. You're going to see a lot more people on the street, a lot more of that kind of street dynamic that I think people want to live in downtowns. That's what they're looking for, that kind of vibrancy. So that's what it's going to do. A degree of liveliness and safety. Busy streets are safer streets. More people in the streets, safer. People are living uptown because of access to service, but they're also living uptown because there's a whole social aspect of that 1,500 more units would just enhance.